Still the indictment and what we have to go through, and it is still yet to be unsealed.
It's amazing. Even the former president's attorneys still don't know the charges that that have been filed under seal. Now, that's because they want to treat him the same way they would treat any other defendant. And what we're expected to see on Tuesday is that he will go before a judge, he will be fingerprinted, he will be photographed. Again, they want this to be like any other case, but Don, we know this is unlike any other case in U.S. history.
A Manhattan grand jury voting to indict former President Donald Trump Thursday. While the case is still under seal, sources tell CNN he faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud. The former president responding to the indictment, calling the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg a disgrace and claiming the entire investigation is a witch hunt.
He's ready to fight. You know, he's the toughest guy I know. Yeah. And he was shocked, you know, because I was shocked. Today.
Dude, what is going on? Dude, Trump's entire legal team has to be brought up to a lineup so we can just look at them. Okay? They're so wild looking, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm Joey Tacopina, Donald Trump's attorney. We got like 50 of us over here, you know? I left my gumada home. I left the fucking gabagool on the table, and I ran over here, Hannity. You won't fucking believe what I got to say. Every single one of them. It's like Trump's entire legal team resembles like a used car dealership in like Tampa, okay? Like everyone is like, they got like the cheerleaders that became, prom queen, that became sorority sisters, that basically became like the attorneys of Donald Trump. That's like the media side. They cover a lot of the media aspect. And then you got these like fucking ex-cop looking motherfuckers who were like, yeah, they call me Joey Tacopina. What's going on? Hey. Yeah. That's an Italian ape right there. They don't make him like that anymore from a bygone era. No, he's awesome. His security guard was called Matthew Calamari. This is so unserious. I'm sorry. You can't do that. Calling world-renowned lawyers cheerleaders because they're female, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. There is no one in Trump's legal team that is a world-renowned lawyer. And if they have any kind of fame, it's mostly infamy, okay? Every single Trump lawyer has literally just been infamous for being insane. Wait, hold on. All right. No, Matthew Calamari is his actual name. Dude, that's fucking awesome, okay? Like, yeah. I'm in Donald Trump's law team too. I'm called Joey Bada Bing. That's my last name over here. What do you fucking mean? The only time he had like wasps, the only time he ever like actually worked with wasps was when he was in office, and he probably fucking hated it. Okay? This man has lived in the tri-state area his entire life, which is why he has like, he has like lifelong Italian men in every part of the operation. Okay? In every part of the operation. So a lot of people forget that. They forget that he was like an Atlantic City guy. You know what I mean? They forget that he had a fucking casino. He's a real estate guy from New York and New Jersey. So, did you say wasps or wops? No, I'm not using like some old ass fucking anti-Italian slur. Wasps, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Like the only time Donald Trump has actually been around white Anglo-Saxon Protestants that he had to work with is literally when he went into DC. And he had all these like fucking annoying like Anglo-Saxon weirdos who are like, sir, you can't actually say that. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, these are the fucking guys that he worked with his entire life.
The rule of law in the United States of America died.
The indictment concludes a years-long probe investigating a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels to remain silent about an alleged affair with Trump, an affair Trump denies. The case relies in part on the testimony of Trump's former
Michael Cohen is the most "this is my lawyer, dog, I'm going to jail" ass lawyer I've ever seen, by the way. And I say this as someone who has had a actual conversation, like a one-on-one conversation with him. That's right. Michael Cohen is a friend of the show. Remember that. I went on his fucking podcast a couple years back, if you recall. He is the most he is the archetypical loser lawyer, dude. It's so awesome.
Personal attorney, Michael Cohen, who has in the past pleaded guilty to 9 federal crimes, including lying.
I am a convicted felon. I am a disbarred lawyer, but I also brought the documents. There's plenty of testimony, corroborating testimony to go around.
Cohen paid Daniels $130,000 just weeks before the 2016 presidential election.
Can you explain how Stormy Daniels is able to speak out about the thing she was paid hush money for? Genuinely don't understand how that works. Yeah, none of that's real, dude. It's void. Fun fact, but NDAs, you know, you don't want to get held up in court and have to do paperwork and shit. But in many cases, they're not valid. You can't do that. It's one day, many of you will understand that a big chunk of laws, regulations, and rules that we exist under, okay? A big chunk of that basically is just making your life as hard as possible so you don't even try to attempt to break it. You know what I mean? That's it. A lot of rules are just nuisances. And that's why I talk about gun control, for example. When I talk about gun control, a big chunk of you know, a big part of gun violence in this country revolves around suicide, right? And that's sometimes a spur in the moment, a spur in the moment thing that you can engage in with a gun. 54% of men, right? Male suicides. And any kind of deterrence that will stop you from being able to get a gun will literally, if you eliminate the ease of access, if you put at least some restrictions, you won't be able to effectively eradicate all gun violence. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But you will cut a big chunk of people who are making these impulse purchases, or who are, who made an impulse purchase way back when and now has a gun. You know what I mean? It doesn't actually have to be genuinely secure. Sometimes security theater in and of itself can literally work. Just a trigger lock substantially reduces the likelihood to commit suicide. Yeah. It's all about making it harder. You know, it's all about it's quite literally about making it a fucking nuisance, making it annoying in many instances. It's like locking your house door from theft. It deters them away. Exactly. That is actually a great point. Exactly. It's not like people can't fucking break into your house if they don't want to, right? If there's a will, there's always a way. But when you create a security system, you create additional layers of deterrence. How do you do that? Not by the threat of prosecution that's always there, but by making it a little bit less accessible. And in many instances, especially if you live in LA, like I do, okay, people try. They will fucking try to break into your shit. They will try to break into your door. They'll recognize that there's fucking cameras. So that's a big security point there, okay? And in a lot of instances, I'll look at my cameras all the fucking time. There's so many instances where like some motherfucker literally will just like come to the door, try to open it. It's not open. They leave. Conservatives think if you can't stop every act, then there's no point in regulating it because evil people will find a way. Yeah, I mean, the entire purpose, again, is just like, the entire purpose just simply revolves around making it as difficult as possible. That's it. What the fuck? People just try to open your door like random people? First of all, brother, I live in Los Angeles, okay? Like, let's be real. There is going to, when you live in a big city, like I'm not going to fucking complain about it nonstop because it's, you know, ultimately not the end of the world. But yes, people literally always try to break into your shit or steal your fucking packages, shit like that. You know, that's pretty much welcome to living in any fucking city where there's a lot of income inequality, you know? That has literally never happened in my small town. Yeah, that's why conservatives that live in fucking rural areas where there is not a human being for like 30 fucking miles lose their shit at the thought of living in a big city because they think all of this stuff kills you. Anyway. If you have a plumber or electrician over to your house to do some work, is it cool for them to number 2 in the restroom if they don't ask, or do they have to ask? Dude, that's a human being, brother. What the fuck? Of course they can shit in your bathroom if they need to shit in your bathroom. Murat says it's kind of weird if they don't ask, but it's totally fine. I don't think they have to ask. My controversial take is that I don't even think they have to ask. It's wild. Murat, have you driven the new car? Bro, go drive it around. Give it a spin, dude. Have fun with it. Okay. Like we were driving to the dealership earlier today, and Murat was like, look at the car in front of us. It was a Prius. It was a little banged up. And he was like, notice something on the fucking license plate? Because in LA, you have to put a sticker on your license plate, right? You have to put a sticker on your license plate for what year, like your up-to-date registration. Okay? Like, that's how you know that dude lives in a shittier neighborhood. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, look at the scratch marks on the tag. Apparently, people basically put scratch marks and slice the sticker on the tag specifically so that it doesn't get stolen. Because apparently people just like fucking literally steal it. I'd never even thought about that. Yeah. That's very common law. I didn't know that. Fucking not common to me. I'm out of touch, baby. People don't do that. I know that like the stickers basically come with slits in it, but I never actually thought about like literally slicing it with a razor specifically so it's like harder to rip off. Okay. Anyway, we're going into like a million different places here. Let's get back to our king, the Great White Hope.
According to court filings, the Trump organization reimbursed Cohen $420,000.
It's a fight against his rejection of truth and his manufacturing of stories that really motivated her.
The Manhattan District Attorney's Office was also asking questions during the grand jury proceedings about Karen McDougal. She was paid $150,000 by the company that publishes the National Enquirer to stay silent about another alleged affair with Trump. Trump has denied any affair with McDougal. Trump's longtime friend and then chairman of the National Enquirer's parent company, David Pecker, is believed to have orchestrated the payment and was one of the last witnesses to testify before the grand jury Monday. But even Trump's potential Republican presidential rivals criticizing the indictment. Governor Ron DeSantis tweeting,
Cucked. So incredibly cucked. Unimaginably cucked. No one has ever been cucked harder. No one has ever been cucked harder than the way Ron DeSantis has been cucked, okay? Just literally coming out of the gate swinging for no fucking reason. It's not even like Donald Trump himself is like, it's not like Donald Trump was ever going to fucking actually deny, showing up to court or whatever. But I love that Mr. Ron DeSantis, who wants to run against Donald Trump, who's been talking a little bit of shit left and right, still has to basically get whipped up to say the right things.
It's un-American. And Trump's former vice president, Mike Pence, telling CNN,
I think the unprecedented.
Speaking of getting cucked, there's another. Here's the other cucked man over here who also is like potentially running against the president, who himself has literally had to withstand active death threats against him by the president's very own stands, and still has to go on national television and be like, yeah, it's still so unacceptable. None of them can come out. None of them can come out and be like, yeah, this is fucked up. Yeah, what Donald Trump did is like literally insane. Like what Donald Trump did is literally fucking insane. He tried to get, like his fans wanted to kill me, guys. Do you guys remember when his biggest fans tried to kill me and said that I should be hanged? That was wild. It's awesome.
An indictment of a former president.
Yeah, they had a noose on the lawn, dude.
United States on a campaign finance issue is an outrage.
And one of the former president's attorneys tells me that the district attorney actually wanted him to surrender today. That would have been, though, a really tight turnaround considering all the security that they would need to get in place.
They wanted to tamp down the circus-like atmosphere that is sure to follow. So they wanted, instead of waiting till Tuesday, over the weekend, time for people to gather and so forth, they wanted him to turn himself in so that this can be over and done with, at least the appearance.
So much for that. We'll see him on Tuesday, right? In what will surely be a circus-like atmosphere.
All right. Thank you very much. Paula Reed will continue to follow this. Caitlin?
Well, I think it's important this morning to step back and look at how we got here. This didn't just come out of nowhere. And it was back in 2006, actually, that Trump first met both Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. 5 years after that is when Stormy Daniels tried to sell her story to a publication known as Life and Style. But Michael Cohen, then working for Trump, threatened a lawsuit, and the story was never published. Fast forward to 2015, Trump announces that he's running for president. Of course, he came down the escalator at Trump Tower. It's the following spring that Daniels tries to sell her story again. No one bites, not even.
Why are they doing action camera work here for like the TV? These are literally just, you could just show these as graphics, man. What's happening? That's so odd.
Not even the National Enquirer. That summer, Karen McDougal's story is caught and killed. And remember, CNN obtained a secret audio tape at the time of Trump and Cohen discussing how all of it would play out. You hear them mention David, as in David Pecker of the National Enquirer, who also testified this week before the grand jury, and Alan. That's Alan Weisselberg, who was the CFO of the Trump Organization and is right now still serving a jail sentence.
Dude, every motherfucker that's been in the Trump administration, or I'm sorry, every motherfucker that's like played a role in the Trump org is like going to jail left and right, and people still are like, no, but the guy leading this entire thing, he's infallible and also innocent. Like, of course they're gonna fucking hit him with a RICO, man. This is precisely what RICOs are for. How is anybody surprised about this? He's like, I'm the most innocent guy you've ever seen, believe me. It's like, bro, you literally, you commit crimes before you get out of bed. You know what I mean?
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David. So I'm all over that. And I spoke to Alan about it when it comes time for the financing, which will be... Listen,
what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So
I'll pay for cash.
No. I got... No.
A few months after that conversation is when a bombshell dropped and the Access Hollywood published a tape of former President Trump. That's candidate Trump at the time. The very next day.
One of the funniest parts about this, though, like, is that if someone legitimately tries to do something fucked up to Alvin Bragg, like, they're gonna literally go to jail for a former president that does not give a fuck about them. Okay, it's the same exact fucking meme that played over and over again since January 6th. Like, these people putting their lives on the line for a dude that straight up does not care about you at all and very likely has committed crimes and will continue to commit them as well. You are not on the team, man. You're not on the same team, I promise you.
On October 8th is when Daniels seemed to sense there was an opportunity to pitch her story once again. After years of failing to sell it, this time there was interest. On October 10th, 3 days after the Access Hollywood tape and about a month before the presidential election, Michael Cohen agreed to pay Stormy Daniels $130,000 in exchange for her silence. That deal threatened Daniels with severe financial penalties if she ever spoke about the alleged affair. On the 28th, that agreement was signed. 11 days before Election Day, of course, an election we now all know Trump won. Poppy, all of this is the heart.
The other part of that's really funny is people constantly being like, well, the statute of limitation went away. It's like, okay, so I guess you can do any crimes you want, especially those that pertain to campaign finance violations. As long as you do campaign finance violations, like, as long as you win, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they tried it back then, and everyone was like, dog, you can't indict a sitting president. Like, you just can't do that. He won because Dems fucked it, not because Stormy got a bag, let's be honest. Oh, of course. You know that already. I totally do agree with that.
Of what the district attorney is now looking at, what they are going into. It is remarkable the time that has lapsed here and the fact that it has culminated with this indictment that we saw.
To walk through from 2006 until where we were and where we are now is remarkable indeed. Caitlin, thank you. So that's the timeline. Let's talk about what came immediately after, right? 2016, 2017, Donald Trump paid Michael Cohen back with a series of monthly checks, right? $35,000 a month after month. Different case, but when Michael Cohen was looking at charges, the DOJ said that those checks were accounted for as legal expenses, even though they were not part of any legal service that he provided to Trump that year. So now what? Ellie Honig is back, our CNN senior legal analyst. Okay, Ellie.
What should Dems have done instead? What? You want me to relitigate 2016? It's been talked over a million times. No, take 30 minutes off and take a breather. I'm not going to relitigate or rehash the many failings of the Hillary Clinton campaign, or the fact that it was even Hillary Clinton that ran against Donald Trump to begin with, or the fact that Hillary Clinton herself tried to implement the Pied Piper strategy, which became an abject failure. They were the ones who actually told CNN and everyone else to like promote Trump during the primaries because they thought he was the most easily defeated candidate out of all of the other Republican candidates. And turns out they were wrong. I think you guys know that now because he was the president. So you still beat him, though. Everyone loves to forget. You can't say that, like, well, we got less technical fouls than the fucking other team. So even though the other team put up more numbers, you know, we still technically won the hearts and minds of the population. Unfortunately, the reality is that the popular vote, and I do think that it's fucking bullshit, right? But the popular vote doesn't matter in this circumstance. I can't believe you guys are making me fucking relitigate this dumb shit that we've talked about over and over again.
Ellie, let's start, I guess, where we are now, where we'll be on Tuesday. What happens now?
Yeah, Poppy, so this is historic. This is unprecedented. But you know what? It's just a case as well. It will be titled People of the State of New York versus Donald Trump. So what are we going to see on Tuesday? This is what we call an arraignment. It's a first appearance in court. Donald Trump will be, in all likelihood, fingerprinted. He may have his mugshot taken as well. Mugshots, by the way, are typically not available to the public under New York.
Bro, you know that shit's going to leak. Are you kidding me? If that doesn't leak, I'm going to be so pissed. Because, like, that leak in and of itself is good for both Trump because, like, he will look like a badass, you know what I mean? And it's good for, like, the liberals to jerk off to. Yeah, so... like that's bipartisan, you know what I mean? That's as bipartisan as like giving the American military $800 billion in discretionary spending. Like everyone will appreciate that. It will genuinely boost, like there will be a noticeable boost in the Trump MAGA economy. What I mean by that is, for those of you, if you've never been to a Trump rally, a lot of Trump supporters are like deadheads. They follow him around everywhere and they sell Trump merchandise. Like the Alibaba drop shippers of the Trump world, the Redbubble Trump shops, those guys are going to be selling so much Trump mugshot merchandise. Like it will be crazy.
State law. At that proceeding, the indictment will be unsealed. That's when we'll see it. That's when we'll know what the charges are. The judge will read the charges to Donald Trump, ask him to enter his plea. He will certainly plead not guilty. And then the judge will almost certainly release Donald Trump on what we call his own recognizance, meaning come back when you will. One important thing I want to notice, this court where we're going to be is a state court. It is called, somewhat confusingly, New York Supreme Court. You hear Supreme Court, you think of 9 justices in robes. The Supreme Court here means the trial level court in downtown Manhattan. After that arraignment, we're going to be into the trial process. We're going to have motions. Watch for Donald Trump's team to ask to downgrade or dismiss some of the charges. Then discovery. Prosecutors have to turn over all their evidence, good and bad, to the defense. Then we will get to a trial. If there's a conviction, we will get to sentencing. And then it's all got to go up on appeal. So we are at the very beginning.
Need a shirt with him behind bars and an eagle bursting through to free him. Oh, I love that. Depends on the risk. There's a small factor they could argue he's a risk to incite violence. You guys are crazy. No. That's not. Come on, man. He's rich. And he's 100% not a flight risk. No way do they fucking. No. I know you said small, easy chance, but that's actually just copium. I think that is actually just like you wanting for it to happen and that actually motivating you to feel like it'll happen. First of all, Donald Trump is not a flight risk. Let's be real. Especially for a case like this, okay? There's no way. Like, what do you mean? This is a nothing burger for the most part. Like, no shot. He's definitely a flight risk. No, he's not, dude. He's above the law. Guys, what the fuck? Donald Trump is literally above the law in every sense of the word. He is so above the law that, like, this trial, depending on what we know so far and a lot of the speculation that we have on like what the charges are, because we don't know exactly what it is, and we're going to find out on Tuesday. Big day, by the way. Tuesday is going to be a big one, lads. Right? Because once he's arraigned, the grand jury indictment will be revealed. Like what the charges are. We'll find out about all that shit. So he won't flee to Russia to suckle on Putin? No, dude. What the fuck? Why? I feel like I've done a good job, I think, of describing to people like why I cover this story and how I cover the story for pleasure and for fun, while simultaneously describing to you that it's all not that all serious. Like, I mean, it's unprecedented, but it's still not that serious. Like, this specific RICO, as far as we understand, is going to be basically mishandling campaign funds, and also, most likely in prior circumstances was considered a misdemeanor, and in prior campaigns, people have just basically paid a fine, right? So just understand that, like, unless there's something bananas going on, which I don't think there is, I have no reason to believe that there is something super serious happening here. Donald Trump is not going to be hit with like some serious shit. It's serious because it's unprecedented, but the charges themselves are not serious. Yes. It's like nabbing Al Capone on tax evasion, okay? That's one of the best ways to describe it. The Georgia case, in my opinion, is significantly more serious. Another case that's serious is the DOJ case on January 6th. These are actually legitimate ways that Donald Trump could face some level of legal scrutiny. Okay? But this individual case, as far as we understand it, doesn't seem to meet the muster of something that will like lock him in jail or anything like that. But it's a lot of fun. Would be serious if it was you or us, though. Well, we would not be fucking engaging in campaign finance mishandling because we can't do that. We're not running for president or office. Those laws are basically designed intentionally to not be as aggressive because the only people that could violate those laws are people who are already like in proximity of power. Does that make sense? It's like, I was going to say insider trading, but like insider trading can sometimes be done by, people that have access to non-public material that aren't in the upper echelon of society. It's like insider trading in Congress. Ain't nobody's going to prison over that, okay? You, the everyday average salaryman, if you tried to do some shit, if you like had access to that and you tried to do it and you made a big bet, okay, you might actually be scrutinized. You might actually go to jail. Might actually go to prison. But like, Nancy Pelosi's not going. Paul Pelosi's not going to jail, right? People in power, unless they fuck over other wealthy people dramatically and significantly, are never going to go to jail. What do I always say? You steal from the poor, you become rich. You steal from the rich, you go to jail. That's how it works.
Of a very long process. Let's talk about potential charges here. Our John Miller broke the news last night. This indictment has 30 plus counts. What could they be?
Yeah, so we know that there's over 30 counts. That doesn't necessarily correlate with seriousness, right? But let's take a look at what it could be. If these charges are based on the hush money payments that Caitlin just laid out, we could be looking at a state charge for falsification of business records. The idea there is if they falsely log these payments as attorney's fees, that would be a misdemeanor, meaning the maximum penalty is 1 year. No one's realistically going to go to jail on a misdemeanor. However, if prosecutors can prove that those records were falsified in order to conceal or commit some other crime, some second crime, then we're talking about a Class E felony. That's the lowest class. It goes A to E. Okay. The max there would be 4 years, but the judge still has discretion to give no prison time. Now, what might that other crime be? Could be a potential campaign finance crime. A little bit of a legal difficulty there, though, because it's state court, remember, but we're talking about a federal election.
Can you talk, though, Ellie, about the fact that what the prosecution is going to have?
So here's what's interesting about that as well. In order for it to be proven to be a felony, Trump cannot. You have to basically prove that Trump had malicious intent, as in, he very purposefully and almost exclusively paid this and exclusively mismanaged campaign funds, knowing that it was illegal. Number one, you have to prove that he knew that it was illegal. And two, you have to prove that he did it specifically for the campaign, to protect the campaign, and not necessarily to like protect his own image, as a matter of fact. Both of those components make it incredibly difficult to prove and incredibly difficult to make these charges stick unless there's something else going on. If you commit a crime, you can't use the defense, well, I didn't know it was illegal. As a matter of fact, you can. This is one of the very few instances where you literally can. So you're not right about this. You're right on like almost every other instance. You can be like, oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know that I couldn't drunk drive. No, you're going to jail. This is one instance where ignorance of the rules can actually help you, can actually save you. The bar for campaign finance violations is so high. Gee, I wonder why. Exactly. The bar, on the other hand, for campaign finance violations on the donor side is a little bit lower, but still very fucking high. And even then, you have some fucking idiots like Dinesh D'Souza who did straw donations who can't even fucking clear it when you could literally max out to whatever fucking candidate you want by pumping money into their super PACs, which is wild. The fact that Dinesh D'Souza fucked up campaign finance violations, did campaign finance violations so deliberately and still, by the way, lost. His candidate lost by like 75% of the fucking vote or something, by a 75% margin. It was crazy. He was too dumb to do fucking max out campaign finance violations. He was too dumb to just like use a 501c4 or something like that. Awesome. Incredible. Absolutely fucking bananas mode. Anyway, let's continue.
Have to argue here to try to try to succeed on these charges is they're going to try to have to tie a federal crime to a state charge. And that is uncharted. It has never been done in this way ever in the history of the state of New York.
When you hear Trump's legal team say these charges are unprecedented, to an extent, they're not.
True.
Right? I mean, falsification of business records charges happen all the time.
But the combination, the way they're doing it.
That's the unprecedented part. That, again, we are in state court here, and they're looking at potentially charging a violation of federal campaign law. That's going to go to the judge before it ever gets to a jury.
Quickly, Trump's defense?
Trump's defense is going to be, the main defense is going to be, he's going to attack Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen's the star witness. People can decide. The jury will decide if they believe him. Trump's team is going to point out that Michael Cohen has been convicted of perjury and fraud. Personal animosity. I mean, to say the least, Michael Cohen despises Donald Trump. And they're going to argue that he's made inconsistent prior statements. But Michael Cohen, the prosecutors are going to argue he's backed up by other evidence, and you can believe him.
Or other people, which Bragg's team may need. Okay, Ellie, thank you. So helpful.
George is here with the biggest headline of the morning.